presentations I have done, or the segments. Yeah, first let me take the first segment, that is ICA. Next. Is that there? Okay. The first question for ICA is, as we know, the journey of ICA from 1949 to 2022, like from the first president, Kapadia sir, and the present president. So may I request the senior most past president, CA K. Raghu, just say a few words about what do you think about the journey of ICA from 1949 to 2022, sir?
Good morning. I think we're all extremely fortunate to be a part of this profession, a profession that has been looked upon with high esteem, a profession that has been contributing a lot to the growth and development of this nation. And I believe that each one of us sitting here in this hall have played a very good role in trying to see how best we are able to contribute for the growth of this country. Having been closely associated with the Institute for almost about 25 years, I personally feel I've interacted with members not only in India, overseas also. One thing that stands out amongst the membership of our institute, I have interacted with members from other global bodies also, is that the quality of education is very good. Every chartered accountant who's passing out from this institute, the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, is able to perform exceedingly well. I had the opportunity of meeting a few CFOs when I was in Abu Dhabi, when I was the president, and they told me, Mr. Raghu, we have chartered accountants from almost about 8 different countries, and we find that the chartered accountants from India are the best. So that is the feedback what we have. Wherever we go across the country, Indian chartered accountants stand above the other chartered accountants. One big advantage what we all possess is that we go through a very stringent examination process. Our study material that has been developed by the institute is world standard, and each one of us put in so much of hard work to qualify as a chartered accountant, and then we get into practice and get into industry. We have seen a lot of changes, and I'm sure way forward, today we find that the profession is, we're getting into a disruptive era. We have seen the disruption happening in the telecom sector. We have seen disruption happening in the IT sector. We are also seeing disruption happening in our sector also, the accounting sector. So I'm sure the opportunities are plenty, and each one of us should grab those opportunities and move forward.
Thank you, sir. Maybe you would like to add something, sir? Nilesh, sir? Okay. Let me take you to the next question. Steps taken by ICA in last 5 years to improve services to members and students, and also the plan for the next 5 years. Maybe the President can take this question.
I can answer. What has happened is, since the time what Raghu sir was saying, and Nilesh bhai will also say, when we were formed in way back in 1949, the idea was this: here we have formed a regulator. Regulator, that is, who is going to regulate the profession. Over the period of time, we have become a standard setter. We have become an educator, because what he's talking about, the board of studies that is there is one of the finest. We have become an examiner. That is what we have also become. Our examination system is so top class, let me tell you, that the Supreme Court of India a few months back told another organization that if you want to know how to conduct examinations, learn it from the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. That was the comment of the Honorable Supreme Court of India regarding the kind of examination system that we have. In the past years, we have seen the coming into force of a body called NAFRA, NFRA, an oversight body, because it's talking about last 5 years. It's an oversight body. When it came into being, it was a bit alien to us, because we never dealt with an oversight body which was active, let me tell you. But But subsequent to that, the next 5 years, what we have done is, we have now developed an excellent relationship with NAFRA. For example, let me just tell you, NAFRA had its training program about a few days back for all its employees. And who were teaching them? Some of our own council members were teaching the NAFRA employees. Right? So you see, that is the kind of relationship that we are having. So in the next 5 years, what we want is a great relationship with all the regulators. For example, with RBI, many of you will be bothered about the bank audit. What is going to happen? He has been the director of a bank. Nilesh bhai has been the director of a bank. You see, every 3 months now, we have a round table with RBI. Every 3 months, we have a round table with them. Right? Telling them, wanting to know from them what is going to happen, what do they want from us, and then telling them that, you see, look, we can do this much for you. Similarly with the IRDA, they are now introducing Indians. They are saying, can you help us? Similarly with CAG, we are having a very good relationship with the, say, Honorable Comptroller and Auditor General of India. So in the next 5 years, and which he will see, because after 2 years, I will no longer be in the council, I think the relationship with the regulators will be very good, but the expectation from all of you will be very high. Expectation from all of you will be very high. If you feel that I have become a chartered accountant, I have got a membership number, a farm registration number, I can sign and do anything, it will not be accepted. What will be the cornerstone is, how quality conscious are you? And are you forgetting the national interest when you sign those balance sheets? That, to my mind, will be a very important factor. How much conscious are you of the national interest when you are signing that balance sheet? I'll not take much of your time. That's how it is.
Thank you, sir. Next question is to Mr. K. Raghu itself, because he was the person who was very keen on technology. Technology developments for a CA firm, sir, and steps taken by ACA President already addressed in his speech. You can give some hints about what all the technology developments required for a CA firm.
His thoughts at that time, because during those times, thinking about technology was not the most popular way of thinking, right? So you see, your thoughts at that time. Please carry on.
I feel all the firms should invest in technology. I've interacted with a lot of professionals, and firms that have invested in technologies have reaped a lot of benefits. And when we talk about technology, just having the latest hardware or maybe working on a cloud is not sufficient. You need to engage yourself with software professionals. You need to engage with technology companies. You need to see how you can automate your offices. Because what I see currently happening in the profession is that, yes, we are using technology, but to a limited extent. How we can scale up our investments in technology is something each one of us should look into. For example, today what is happening, whether you're talking about income tax return filing or GST filing or any return, everything is automated. Whether you have automated your office processes is something which we need to see. Many CA firms have not still automated their office processes, which is very important, very critical. A lot of solutions are available, and it's absolutely essential for each one of us, each firm, to invest in a office automation software, so you're able to track the entire activity happening in your firm. Many a times you realize that a lot of time is spent on a particular assignment and that goes unbilled. So investing in technology is something should be done on a regular basis. Number two, you need to upskill. Having knowledge, having investments in technology is one thing. Number two is upskilling yourself in technology. You need to participate in some weekend courses. There are a lot of institutions offering courses on blockchain, analytics. Institute has offered a lot of courses on analytics. It is essential for us to upskill, not only upskill, also upskill of the staff, so that they are able to embrace new technology. Number three, sometimes, many chartered accountants tell me, Mr. Raghu, we do not have the inclination to learn new technology, emerging technology is very difficult. What do you suggest we should do? Yes, you should go in for young chartered accountants who have the skills in the new emerging technologies, whether it could be artificial intelligence, whether it could be analytics, whether it's in blockchain, whether it's cloud computing, whether it's robotics. Absolutely essential for you to take in some young blood, train them, and try to drive your activities. A lot of opportunities once you embrace technology. You can service clients overseas. you're able to conduct IS audits, you're able to automate your processes so the turnaround time will be good. All in all, you'll be able to sit here in Bangalore and offer your services to clients around the world. It's not very difficult for you to offer your clients your services to a client in Dubai or a client in Singapore. It's possible for you to do it. So it's absolutely important and critical. The COVID has taught us how work from home can be a big game changer. And all of us have seen we have worked successfully from home. And today you should be in a position to even take the help of staff. Let us say you have some child coming to you, not able to come to your office. You should look at the possibility of utilizing the services from home. So it is absolutely essential for you to look at a hybrid system of working so that you are able to offer services to clients not only in Bangalore, to clients around the world.
Thank you, sir. And
Can I add something?
Yeah.
Supplement. Friends, I think the COVID was the best teacher for us as far as technology is concerned. I think, just to give my own example, my office, my firm was using Microsoft Teams for audits. My partner in Mumbai used to interact with Ahmedabad-based client and my team there on Teams parallelly. I had never used it before the COVID. I'll be very honest and candid. Microsoft Teams. And we were lucky that we went for a voluntary work from home. They don't want me to speak. We went for voluntary work from home on 18th of March, and thanks to this technology, it helped us, and I think all of us were sitting here, whether we liked it or not, seniors, juniors, we had to adopt it. The technology was thrust on us. I'll just elaborate what Raghuji said on AI. On the accounting, what is happening right now, the maker, the data entry, in my view, that process is going to be done by bots as the time goes by. The time is not very far away, especially for seniors. We have challenge of people also. We are not assuming you're into accounts writing. I'm just saying some of you may be doing accounts writing for people. The maker will go off. The preparation of accounts will be done by bots. I'm on a board of a company, of a travel company, with huge challenge on reconciliations on various, including bank reconciliations. 6 months, 7 months, a few years back. And since I was there in part of the audit, this is not acceptable. Do whatever you want. Please, I want this addressed. And friends, you won't believe they started adopting bots for reconciliation, bank reconciliations. 70% task of matching done by bots. So the physical task went down to 30%. I'm just elaborating what Raghuji said. So how technology is going to, so especially for juniors who are here, what Raghuji mentioned about AI, how to use artificial intelligence for accounting, for audit, for tax, for, I think if you can work on it, you'll have a first mover advantage. And then the volumes will not matter. Same way, data analytics, we talk of analytics, what audit we do. I think the clients will start demanding more and more analytical solutions, suggestions based on analytics. And we as an audit firm, using analytics, we are adding a lot of value to the clients. We talk of value addition, so analytics will help you add value. Another thing which is slightly far away is blockchain. Maybe 5 years, 7 years down the line, but some juniors are interested, that again will be, adding a lot of value to the practice. Will be having a first mover advantage. And lastly, but not the least, is cyber security. You'll say, I'm a chartered accountant, what do I do with cyber security? But friends, let me tell you, huge opportunity. Number one, first within your own organization to see how you're not prone to attacks, hacking, because you have client confidential data. So that is the first thing to address yourself. And then it's a huge opportunity to service your small and medium clients. The large clients may go to the larger firms, but small and medium clients could do with cyber security services you can offer. So a lot of opportunities as far as technology is concerned.
Thank you, sir. As we heard from both of them, the need of the hour is like we have various verticals. We may have a direct tax division, indirect tax, corporate law, auditing and assurance, accounting. Now we have to think of having more partners or expanding our firms and have another vertical called information technology, so that we can...
I'll add, till now we used to think of large firms having technology people. Now, as a mid-sized firm, we have taken up engineers who are not DSA-CISAs. 2-3 engineers are there, and we will only be growing this particular area. Currently, they're supporting the audit function, but going forward, we want to convert that into a profit center. And so, how things are changing? We say, auditor, why do we need engineers? We are thinking only the large firms, but gradually, I think all of us will start needing them for the technology part.
Sir,
those are first things he's talking about large firms or medium-sized firms. Small firms, faceless assessments now in the income tax. This affected all of us. It is not in our hands anymore. Right? It's not in our hands anymore. What will you do? Technology has taken over. Now the rules of the game has changed. You have to be very good in Income Tax Act, number one. Number two, your drafting skills have to be very good. The rules of the game has changed. That's how it is. That's how the technology is changing the rules of the game. Today, somebody just now sent me from Economic Times my comments. You know what the ministry has done? They are saying if you are going to put up your accounts on the cloud, the account should be totally accessible, updated. They have changed the company's account rules, updated daily, and we must know the name of the person in India who is in control of the accounts. So the question that Economic Times is asking me is, why has the ministry done this? And what is the viewpoint of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India on this? So you see, the way they are now, the questions are totally on technology. So we have to accept it, the changes. Huge changes are going to come. Yes, please.
Sir, the next question you can only answer. Vision ICA for 2030, how ICA will be placed in 2030, if you have any ideas on those things.
You see, today we are the second largest accounting body in the world. Mr. Raghu, Mr. Nilesh Vikamsey, we all go and say second largest, second largest. I think by 2030, the way it is, we'll be the largest accounting body in numbers. That is number one, in numbers. But if you become the largest in numbers, will we get the same respect unless we become the largest from the point of view of quality of services that we provide? That is the test. I have no doubt by 2030, we will be the largest by way of numbers. AICPA will beat them. But quality of service is going to be of great importance. And in 2030, the vision that he is talking about, a great deal will depend on how the nation looks at us. Whatever you say, I as the president, they both as the past presidents can say, go on saying that we are the partners in nation building, nation first. You can go on saying this. But if the government says, or the stakeholders, the person, that's why we have this financial and tax literacy program, they say that these guys are good. They mean business. They try to help us out. If this happens, then I think the profession will be in the right track. That's why we are going so much for this financial and tax literacy drive that we are having, so as to reach out to the nook and corner of the country. So I believe the way we are going, we shall have great respect from our co-regulators as well as from the government. That's what it is. But a lot will depend on how all of you perform. It is not we three of us saying that we should do this. It will all depend on how you perform. That's how it is.
You want to add something?
I'll
sir?
just add one supplement. Friends, what is happening is so much good things Institute is doing, the council, etc., supporting the government. But when you open up the newspapers, what do we see? So-and-so CA arrested for some GST fraud, so-and-so CA doing something, for these Chinese companies, blah, blah. Whether the guilt is proven or not, well, first the attack is on the chartered, and chartered account as a profession, not as an individual. See, in case of lawyers, in case of medical negligence, they will not castigate the whole community. But unfortunately, our expectation is such that one of us doing wrong, it is impacting the whole body. It is the way the whole things have evolved. So I think it is incumbent, I'm just to reiterate what the President said, that we cannot have accidents now. Accidents like scams, people accommodating the clients, I would say, for wrongly distorting the numbers, etc. And you see how the government is functioning for the last 7 years, and the way things go, I think 2024, as of we speak today, what we can foresee is the same government will continue because opposition is very weak. So the direction in regularizing, in knocking off all the fluff, the parallel economy, is, whether it's GST, demonetization, so on and so forth, is going in a very, very big way. They want to clean up the system. And unfortunately, the impression is that chartered accountants are advising the clients wrong, unfortunately, at the helm. Though everybody knows business is almost smarter than us. But we have been rubber stamped that because CA's advice, something wrong is being done. And this I'm saying from very close quarters interacting. That's the impression, however wrong it may be. And that's the reason each one of us has to take an oath that we will not allow any wrong practices to happen as a client knowingly, despite that some accident can happen. But at least knowingly, consciously, don't sign something which is wrong, either a certificate or a financial statement or anything, because it is impacting everyone, not only you. That's the request. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. The next question is to the chairman, president, sir. He was talking about members, some mistakes happening. What ICA will do to support innocent members against any mishap?
You see, this matter was discussed in the council at length. Two aspects. First aspect is somebody is arrested. He is saying that the member is innocent. But the first target is that he has been arrested. So, for example, for some GST fraud, somebody has been, you have read in the papers. The institute is trying to develop a SOP. The council has already approved that. We are trying to tell the government of India that if such a fraud happens, the chartered accountants should not be the soft targets. We are trying to tell them that, mind you, these frauds are not done by the chartered accountants but by the management. You should not turn a blind eye to them and catch hold of the chartered accountants because they are available to you. You see, the nearest. We are seeking a legal opinion on this SOP that we have developed. And once we get a legal opinion as to how we can do it, we are going to give it to the Minister of Home Affairs and others, Minister of Corporate Affairs. We are going to spread throughout, and even the branches we are going to give this SOP. So that the government also follows this. I think the second one is, the CABF. Maybe the innocent members, somebody has died or you have had COVID, we can give 1.5 lakhs. The problem that we face in CABF is, I can transfer 100 crores from the institute funds to CABF, but I cannot do that because I have a legal opinion which says that if I do that, my exemptions under section 10 and 11 will go. If I do that. So I cannot transfer. So it is very important that all of you also contribute to CABF. So that these innocent members that he is talking about, many of them died, their family requires our help. Right? So that we can help them. Let me tell you, the institute, and I have come out with a press statement also, that you see, we should not be made the soft targets. But then the president coming out with a press statement is very fine. But what Nilesh Vikamsey is saying, that we must also do our work well. Please note, penal consequences in earlier times used to be that you will be referred to the disciplinary committee of ICA. Now the penal consequences are embedded in the regulations, in the Companies Act, for example. So you cannot escape. So that's how it is. Right? So let us get this SOP. I think it is coming up in the 28th council meeting, the SOP, and then we shall circulate it.
Sir,
Just 2 points. On the CABF, I remember during my term, Cotha was the chairman of SIRC and he had done a wonderful job as far as strengthening the CABF corpuses. So huge round of applause for, and I hope that same continues. One other thing, I just taking the opportunity to suggest to President Sir and to Cotha, both of them the council, is for the bankers in the CVC, the Vigilance Chief Vigilance Commissioner's office, they have created an advisory body manned by, I believe, some seasoned bankers, retired chairman of Mr. T.M. Basin, who was the ex-MD of, I think, Indian Bank, or he's currently chairman of that advisory body. So first the matter is referred to them and then referred to CVC and all. It doesn't go directly, the action don't happen. So possibly, since the model is already adopted for banking, President Sir and Cotha, you could, when you're discussing in the council, that this also could be examined, the banking side, so that the bankers also take, decisions. Otherwise, no public sector banker wants to take decision because of the CVC fear, the vigilance fear. So this could be, because that is impacting now our profession also. People don't want to join the audit firms because if anything they do, they may be hauled up. That could be looked at.
Thank you, sir. We have come to the end of the first segment, that is ICA. Next, we'll move on to the economy. I request panelists should be a bit faster and short and sweet, so otherwise we cannot complete most of the questions. The next question in economy is CA's role or contribution in helping India to move to 5 trillion economy. Like from past 75 years, we have moved from 0 to 3 trillion, and we are expecting another next 10 years we have to go to 5 trillion. So we have a very pivotal role in developing this, and we maybe even when once you talk about GST, the entire fraternity, the chartered accountant students, members in industry, members in practice, and all of them, they have put in a lot of efforts to get this thing. So all of you can tell me how, as chartered accountants, members, students, and institute contribute for this 5 trillion economy.
Since I'm in the company of two past presidents, I remember the statement of one more past president, PM Narelwala. Both of you must have, the great PM Narelwala. He will say that in the 70s, he will talk about, if you scratch the back of a chartered accountant, you will get an economist. He said that in the 80s and 90s, when he was almost at his, as a very senior, you scratch the back of a chartered accountant, you will get an advocate. That is the movement that we have done. And he used to feel very sad about it. That you see, we have become more of compliance officers. Right? So we have to go back to those days when we were an economist. Now what we are doing is, even in the post-budget memorandum, pre-budget memorandum, we are talking about GDP growth. How we can contribute. I recall once I was talking to a minister. Let me mention him, Piyush Goyal. He said that, Debashis, forget it. Tell me what the chartered accountants can do to help me have a higher GDP. Straight away. Your return filing and all this, I know everything. Right? So tell me what we need to do. Please note, but then there is a feeling coming that we are also contributing to the growth of the economy. How the feeling is coming? About 10 days back, I was in Ahmedabad. And there I met Mr. Bajaj, who is the Revenue Secretary. There was a meeting of the Gift City inauguration. The Prime Minister, Honorable Prime Minister was also there. So we were just got chatting, and Mr. Bajaj suddenly said that, look, whatever I tell about you guys, but without you guys, that is without your chartered accountants, I will never have the tax collections that I have. Right? So, you see, we are doing everything possible. Maybe as Nilesh Bhai says, we are not visible to what extent we are contributing to the growth of the nation. Right? We have to do that. But we are doing everything possible from our side to see that we can contribute to this vision. Right? So I am also moving. There is a group now which is dealing with this economy part. We are also moving the thinking towards that, because we believe that if I can go to the government, to the finance minister, and make a presentation before her regarding how I can contribute to the well-being of the economy, she will listen to us. If I go there and say that, madam, extend my date of furnishing return, she is not going to listen to us. Right? So that is the change in thinking. We are doing everything possible to ensure that our role is recognized. That's how it is.
I would just like to add, chartered accountants playing a role in helping India to move to a 5 trillion economy is the question. I think each one of us, if you take a location like Bangalore, Bangalore is the hub for startups. We have so many startups, and the government is giving a big push for the startups to become unicorns, and we have seen so many unicorns in a city like Bangalore. You go to Bombay, where Nilesh Vikamsey is, it's a hub for financial services, and most of the CAs there in Bombay are involved in financial services. Here, chartered accountants in Bangalore, we find that they're involved more with startups, more with technology companies, more with fintech companies. So each one of us should move away from traditional areas of practice. Yes, all your filing should continue. You should play your role as a chartered accountant. But yes, you need to look at business consulting. Business consulting could be a good opportunity for you to add value to companies. You can start consulting for startups in a city like Bangalore. That is how we can help companies to grow. We can also play a very positive role in strengthening corporate governance in some of the big companies. So if we start looking at consulting more, I think we can play a much bigger and better role.
Thank you, sir. I will skip this question, how CAs played a role in COVID crisis. All of us are aware that we worked overnight and even work from home concept was brought in. We never stopped working, so we contributed. The next one, continuing to that question, sir, ICA's interaction with state government to help them in getting new revenue streams and helping them in formulation of policies. In fact, certain state governments, like to take an example of UP, they say next 5 years we will become 1 trillion economy, the state itself. So if we develop all the 30 states, that is also, we are helping the country to reach that 5 trillion economy. Say like the state of Karnataka, if we also say that we will be contributing 1 trillion economy, means that will be our state GDP. Collectively, we can contribute to the central government. So what ICA is doing, sir, for all the state governments, and of course, the other two also can give your thoughts, what we have to do. Should we approach the central government or also to start with state governments?
You see, over a period of time, during their time, during my time, ICI has been a highly centralized body. These 32 council members, they have run ICI, right? We have had 166 branches, we have had 5 regional councils, but the core of the decision making was always done in Delhi. What we are trying to do now is, decentralize things a bit. We're trying to reach out to these branches, telling them that can you talk to the state governments and try to see how we can help them develop. For example, let me give you, yesterday, we signed an agreement with Mizoram government, small state, Mizoram, small state, for development of the education system, right? And we hope that by doing so, we will enter Mizoram and help them out in doing things. Yesterday, as I said, we've had this MSME Yatra. They will visit 75 cities in 75 days, propagating the MSMEs and how you can capacity build the MSMEs. So we are now reaching out, right? Because we have now realized that unless we activate the branches, unless we activate the regional councils, we cannot be truly very effective. So that's what we are doing. Reaching out. I'm just giving you 2 instances. I can give you 10 more instances where we are reaching out now. We are changing the way we are thinking and reaching out to everybody so that, our presence is felt in many of these organizations. I'll just tell you, and Cotha Srinivas is here, we just had a council meeting the other day. So chief guest in the council meeting, he was saying, I am very happy to be here. I can see your association growing. I'm very happy to be here as an association. Your association is doing very well. So I heard him twice, the chief guest. And I was sitting next to him as the president. Third time when he said association, I said, sir, may I interrupt? What is that? I said, we are not an association. Why you tell us association is because you are not aware of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. We have a statutory body set up under an act of parliament. You don't know how many times I was told outside when he left, he was apologizing to everybody that, look, I just didn't know. But it was not his fault. Over a period of time, we did not reach out to people. That's why they don't know much about us. We are now trying to reach out through Bangalore branch here. We are trying to do all these 7 or 8 branches that I see. We are trying to reach out. Because 32 people sitting in Delhi cannot reach out to everybody. No? It's not possible. Right? So that's what we are trying to do. Right? So that's how it is. I would like to have the opinion of the other 2 past
Yeah,
presidents.
we'll move further, sir. Otherwise, we cannot cover the questions.
Quickly, during my term, we had the same suggestion we had given from local bodies, how to improve the revenue stream. I think that time past President Atul Gupta was chairing the committee of local bodies, so we had given. So maybe that can be added.
So
to
now, some from CM, I and B, we are having a dialogue with various state governments. Even in Karnataka, we are just finding some university where economists to prepare some draft and which we'll present to the government. I will skip this question also, sir. Then we'll move to the next segment, that is profession. Sir, now recently the CA Amendment Act as 2022 has come. In the amendment, means earlier act, it was the ICA was to regulate the profession. Now they have added regulate and development of profession. So with the word addition of development of profession, what all ICA will take it up? Maybe the past president, Mr. Nilesh Vikamsey or Mr. Raghu also can answer. So what we have to act upon now? All these years we were only regulating, now development also. So what all the steps we have to take to develop the profession?
The CA Amendment Act 2022 brought in one significant change regarding the disciplinary mechanism. I think all of us are aware, wherein currently the president of the institute is the chairman of the disciplinary committee. Now they have brought in a person to be nominated by the Ministry of Corporate Affairs. One of the reasons, as President very rightly said, is that there is a feeling, there is a perception. The government is having a feeling that we are very slow as far as the disciplinary proceedings is concerned. But my personal experience, having been the chairman of the disciplinary committee, having sat through many disciplinary proceedings, is that the institute is putting a lot of effort to conclude the cases. But for various reasons, due to principles of natural justice, we find that the hearings keep getting postponed. And the government feels that we are very slow in the disciplinary process itself. But last 7 years, a lot of initiative has been taken and we have been able to bring all the disciplinary cases on track. But one unfortunate thing which I find that even now, members of our profession are subject to a lot of disciplinary action by their own members. Things like not taking a no objection certificate from a previous auditor. We have so many cases being filed by our own members against our members for not taking a no objection certificate from a previous auditor. So I think we need to keep this in mind, that we have a very strict disciplinary mechanism and try to see how best we are able to convey to the government that we mean business. And I appreciate the President for the recent press report that came on action against more than 300 firms who are involved in incorporation of Chinese companies. All this goes well, augurs well for the profession, because today if any fraud takes place, I have worked on various fraud committees in a nationalized bank. I've seen how the frauds are committed, and somewhere or the other, as Nilesh very rightly said, a chartered accountant is brought into the whole picture, and we find that the chartered accountant is remotely or directly connected in some fashion. So whenever we analyze these frauds, especially in the banking sector, we need to be very careful, especially when your clients are having a lot of facilities in the bank. You need to be very careful. Even signing simple things like stock statements, I think we need to exercise a lot of caution, because for some reason the credit department comes to know the chartered accountant has issued a stock statement certificate without even verifying the stock. I think they've straightaway filed cases against the chartered accountant. You need to be very, very cautious. So what I would believe is that we need to ensure that we carry out our duties responsibly. We need to be extremely cautious, especially when we are certifying documents, statements. We need to be very clear that we are doing the right thing, and for that you need to work in an ethical framework. And if you work in the ethical framework, I don't think, I've been in practice for 32 years, and I personally believe that if you are working within the ethical framework, then nothing could go wrong.
Sir, that development thing, if you want to add something.
This aspect that he's talking about, this stock verification and things like this, we sit in the disciplinary committee and we see that, you have not done the verification well, right? And then when we seek for the books and records, audit notebook, they say that, there was a flood or there was a fire. I think that the reasons that Raghu ji has heard or Nilesh Vikamsey has heard, the same reasons we hear now. But it is not going to be there. In the future, now he's talking about development. What we are now trying to do is that they're talking about a coordination committee. coordination committee of all the three institutes. How the three institutes can work together, that's instead of company secretaries, instead of chartered accountants, instead of cost accountants, for the development of the profession as a whole. For example, multidisciplinary partnership. Many of us, we would like to join that form, MDP. It is not happening because the other two institutes are not very keen on that. The first meeting of the coordination committee has been fixed on 30th of this month. We are hoping to raise that before the ministry, because the Secretary Ministry of Corporate Affairs is presiding officer of the coordination committee. And that coordination committee has come because of this CA Amendment Act 2022. So we are trying to see how the profession can be developed. Regulation is fine. They are saying that, look, we want a majority in the disciplinary committee. That is, out of 5, 3 will be non-chartered accountants and 2 will be chartered accountants. Even today, and I'm sure in Raghuji's time and Nilesh Vikamsey's time, we had the opposite. 3 were chartered accountants and 2 were government nominees. But we never went for a vote. We never tried to make it 3:2. We didn't do it. We tried to convince the government nominees, saying that, sir, this is the thing. If they are not convinced, we said, if you say it's guilty, it's guilty. All right, no problem. But unfortunately, these aspects, somehow or the other, we could not really place before the government. Even Jain's in a committee which dealt with the CA Amendment Act, I was part of that. We told them again and again, sir, you ask the government nominees what we are doing. But the feeling was this, that if you bring in 3 non-chartered accountants in the disciplinary committee, then there is no conflict. Right, then there is no conflict, and these 3 non-chartered accountants can do very well. Our point quota at that point of time was, do these 3 non-chartered accountants know accounting standards, auditing standards, GST? Do they know Income Tax Act? Their answer was, these 2 other chartered accountants who are there will teach them all these aspects. How can these 2 people teach them all these aspects? Anyway, but that's how it has come. But so we shall use it very positively, let me tell you.
Thank you, sir. The next question for Nilesh, sir. Sir, USP of our course and USP of our profession. I feel USP of our course is the rigorous articleship training that we take up, the 3 years training which all of us have taken here. That is a USP of our course. And USP of our profession is, of course, all these years is the compliance part, the statutory requirements that we are doing, auditing, accounting, or taxation as such. Now in the change scenario, you still feel our USP remains the same, or there is some changes, sir?
I would agree with you that the USP of the course, of course, is the practical training, the articleship period. The 3 years of rigorous training is what is making us skilled, if I can say so. See, knowledge is there. There is a lot of academic knowledge available everywhere. But if the knowledge is not applied properly, it's meaningless. And what we see generally, those who got theoretical knowledge, continue? Yeah. Some noise is coming, yeah. So the application of knowledge, which trains us so well. And the USP of the profession, apart from whatever we are doing, audit, tax, I think the USP of the profession is this practical training is making us an all-rounder. We have seen Rakesh Junjunwala, chartered accountant, Piyush Goyal, Suresh Rupal, all, that is fine. But I'm saying at a nearer level, I have got one ex-alumni of my firm, Sana Kabra, who after doing a CA, brilliantly qualified, she says, I want to become a patissier. She's making pastries. So our course, I would say, makes us so equipped that we can be an all-rounder. We can do any line we pick up. So Anand Rathi, you have heard of Anand Rathi Wealth. At one time, he was considered to be much more knowledgeable on cement technology than the engineers themselves. A chartered accountant, gold medalist. But the moment he entered the cement industry, today the MD of Ultratech Cement is a chartered accountant. So I think whichever lines we pick up, the training is such that we can do more depth research in that line and we can conquer that particular line. So I think that's a USP of our profession.
Sir, I will quickly take the questions. I request one of you can answer quickly also. Sir, how professions in Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities and proprietors plan or equip themselves for the future?
I think the professionals in Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities should quickly look at new opportunities. 6 new opportunities which I would like to state. One is, as I said, business consulting. Professionals in Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities can help the local businessmen to grow well. So business consulting is one area. Number 2, they should get into valuation. Valuation also will give them a lot of opportunities. And today, what is happening is chartered accountants specialized in valuation is able to get a lot of opportunities. They could sit in a place like Tumkur or Mandya and offer valuation services to a client in Bangalore. So you need not have a client from Mandya or Tumkur. So you should be having the capability of reaching out to clients not only in your town but outside your town also. Number 3 is forensic audit. I have done this certification course during COVID time. I thought, let me do this certification course, and let me tell you friends, this certification course is extremely good, and I should compliment the institute for launching this particular course, which is an online course, and you are able to develop a lot of forensic skills which helps you in your regular audits. In addition to that, you can take up forensic assignments. Today, banks are giving a lot of forensic assignments for chartered accountants, and they do not have adequate chartered accountants. Number 4 is IS audit, which we are already doing. 5 is insolvency. Insolvency practice is also growing fast. You need to be extremely careful if you're getting appointed as an insolvency professional. But there's a certification program offered by the institute, and I think you should look at insolvency as a practice. And cyber risk services, which Nilesh Bhai was talking earlier, is a very big opportunity, especially for the youngsters. These are some of the opportunities which professionals from Tier 2, Tier 3 cities should just pick it up. You can't do everything. You can just pick up 1 or 2, and I'm sure you'll be able to generate additional revenue for yourself.
Thank you, sir. Next, we'll move on to the next segment of global. There are 3 questions. I'll ask only one question. One is, of course, you can answer both the questions. What is your take on allowing a global networking of firms? And then ICA, we are saying that we are the 2nd largest accounting body. How is it placed at global level in terms of recognition and opportunities? Both questions maybe you can answer, sir. Sir, you can. Yeah, you can answer.
What is the first one?
First one was...
I have one. You see, we have a guideline today by the Institute for domestic networking. Because domestic networking guidelines is basically if you don't want to enter into a partnership with each other, but at the same time you want to network, that is use each other's strengths to go ahead, then you can certainly think of doing that, and we have got guidelines for domestic networking. There is a group now which is discussing on the guidelines on international networking. How many international networks I can be part of? To what extent I can advertise as part of these international networks? So this is something that the group is discussing, and we believe that as soon as the group report comes, we shall, bring it before the council and try to approve it. Let me tell you that this matter of international networking, Cotha Srinivas knows. There has been a lot of discussions on this. Many people have different viewpoints on this. We are trying to see how we can, carry every single viewpoint and try to do it. Second point, and what kind of respect that we have in the international bodies. You see, Mr. Raghu was a board member of IFAC long back. He was also there in IFAC. Today, IFAC is the International Federation of Accountants. Today, we have a past president, Atul Gupta, who is also a board member of IFAC. To that extent, the institute has a say in the IFAC matter, whatever say it is. There is something called ISBA, International Ethical Standards Board. There also, we have a representation in the board in the form of Sanjeev Chaudhary. There is something called Chartered Accountants Worldwide, CAW. There also, I as the president of the institute, I am a member of the board. So we have presence everywhere. The thing is, how much, we can, but if you say, does people stand up when they see us coming in? That we are the 2nd largest accounting body in the world, and that we are now, some representative is coming in and everybody stands up? That unfortunately does not happen. But Our representation is there in all this, you see, international this thing. And the fact that you are organizing the World Congress of Accountants, that itself is an indicator. This is an IFAC event. That itself is an indicator that IFAC has great faith in us. And that, you see, first time in more than 100 years history of the World Congress, they have given it to India. So in the international scenario, our footprints are very much there, but we have to take it forward. That's how it is.
Thank you, sir. Now, next segment is CA firms. Nilesh, sir, you can answer two questions. How effective is multidisciplinary firm concept, which was introduced 1 or 2 years back? And how effective is networking of firms? Both combined, maybe you can answer, sir.
The multidisciplinary, partnerships came in the CA Act in 2006. Unfortunately, it has not seen much traction. And now I think all the enabling
It happens only when you are speaking.
It's your USB.
they don't want me to speak. That's all. Sorry. More power. I must be speaking slightly low. So anyway, coming back to the point, the multidisciplinary partnership as of now, I think as the President mentioned in the opening remarks, that our sister bodies are not very comfortable on they feel that we'll gobble them up being the larger, big brothers of the three institutes. So they're putting all roadblocks what they can, unfortunately. But I think this coordination committee which has now been set up under the Act, and where the Secretary MCA is going to be the chairman. And so we'll see much more traction on the multidisciplinary partnerships. The institute has already made the thing effective. So you can start, but yeah, to gain more ground, already some have started. To gain more ground, it takes time. Coming to effective networking of firms, I think formally or informally, all of us network. Unfortunately, again here, the original networks, I can only remember one successful domestic network, which is Badgach. And maybe there may be few more. But after the revision of the guidelines, I think last year, the President or a year before last, under the group of Mr. Jay Chaira, which when I think the President was the Vice President, the new domestic guidelines have come, which are very good. And I would earnestly urge upon you, there are 2-3 models which are there. Please have a look at it. And when we looked at the GST audit and all, when it was there, I think networks have happened all of a sudden. Suppose you've got a client in Bangalore who's got operation in Hyderabad or in, say, Ahmedabad or in Delhi. There's no choice but to, network with the firms there and get the local GST audit done there. And so it is going to pick up. International networking, there are many international networks. Yeah, as we said, the President is saying there is, the institute is coming out with guidelines thereof. And once it comes, I think then it will give a more fillip to the international networking as we see.
Sir, the next question also you can take and quickly you can answer that. Like now we have this AQRR model from NAFRA, whether how it affects the firms, whether it is demoralizing members to join audit firm. Quickly you can sum.
Friends, can I ask you how many of your AQRR is audit quality review reports issued by NFRA? They have come out with I think almost 7 or 8, maybe 8 entities audit quality they have reviewed and issued the report. How many of you have read even one of the reports? I'm saying my earnest request to this whole audience over here is please pick up pick up the latest report and have a look at it. It may be in the case of ILFS, forget the ILFS factual part, but it'll give you a synopsis on what is the expectation on the audits. Now most of these AQRRs came at a time where I think possibly the institute interaction was not in good, we have 3 members, the President, the ASB chairman, the ASB chairman on the board of NFRA, but all these orders came without a elaborate framework is what my information is. President may correct it. There was no framework laid down, just executive order and it was issued. Despite chartered accountants we have got our past Amarjit Chopra there and one other chartered accountant. So 5 chartered accountants on the NFRA board. But this has come. So that is one part of it, how it came. But my request is please have a look at the reports. To the extent, I don't know how many of us sitting over here are following standards of auditing when the audits are there. We are like, the SMPs, we are like the Ayurvedic doctors. We know the nubs of the person and everything is in our mind. We don't have anything written. We need to become like homeopathic doctors, where the whole case history is there. The homeopathic doctors write down. So audit has now become that. Please follow standards of audit. Document all your audit procedures, what you have done. And please look at the AQRR reports. To the extent, in my view, they have gone in an extreme interpretation. A certain point or a paragraph or a line not applicable to a entity, assuming you have not done that. They said, where have you documented that in your checklist? I think it is going from earlier, we were Ayurvedic doctors, now everything they want listing, more of documentation and ideal. And friends, believe me, this AQRR reports, the audit files go electronically, there's no personal, you cannot explain them. It is, so your files have to speak for themselves. You will not be able to represent like across the table the way we are meeting here. So it has to be a self-speaking file. That level of documentation you have to have. Having said that, yeah, it is definitely a challenge which might sort of disappoint some of the youngsters. But I am seeing, at least in my organization, the youngsters are gearing up to the challenge. I think today our Indian youngsters, they're conquering the world, whether we're looking at sports or whatever. I'm sure this EQR is a very small challenge which we will overcome.
Thank you, sir. Now, the President, sir, how should the audit firm gear itself to meet the requirements of AQMM, that is Audit Quality Maturity Model, and the 3 clauses that's coming, no CLAR, percentage of fees and tax representation? Quickly, you can just...
All right. But first of all, just stressing on what CA Nilesh Vikamsey has said, past president. You see, auditing standards you have to follow. Those of us who think that audit is part of our DNA, we don't need to know auditing standards. You see, you are going to be in trouble, let me tell you. Now, the way NFRA judges is that how much auditing standards you know. 46 of them, you must know all the 46. That is number 1. Number 2, what is talking about AQMM? AQMM is Audit Quality Maturity Model. You know, we have developed something called Audit Quality Indicators. Now, these Audit Quality Indicators are a set of questions which you have to answer to find out how capable is your firm from the point of view of audit quality. It's a self-evaluation tool. There is a view in the council that it must be made mandatory as we go ahead, especially for public interest entities. So we are looking at that. But please note that this is coming, the Audit Quality Maturity Model. We have a Center for Audit Quality based out of Mumbai, and we are doing everything possible to promote the audit quality maturity models. NOCLAR means, that is SA 250. That's the auditing standard. Non-compliance with laws and regulations. So to what extent you are required to report, because all this time we said, if somebody did not comply with the laws and regulations, for example, Companies Act, it does not affect the truth and fairness of the financial statements. Right? So, but NOCLAR, it says that no. That is not. You see, you have to comply with the laws and regulations. This is again coming before the council on the 28th. Please note, I think the council is in the mood to make it mandatory. The council is in the mood to make it mandatory. So it is coming for all of you. So those of us who can think that, you see, we can just get away with audit, it's not possible. Okay? All right.
Sir, next one, I'm skipping a few questions, only 1 or 2 important questions. How to address the issues of no audits of SMCs, no GST audits, reduction in bank audits and tax audit?
Okay. You like to take it? Okay. All right. Now, let me tell you, first of all, one by one, no audits of SMCs. He has picked up this question because NAFRA had issued a consultation paper at some point of time. And they said that, why have audit of the small companies? Please note, the institute totally rejected that paper publicly also, saying that NAFRA does not have any kind of jurisdiction over small companies. It has jurisdiction only over listed companies and other public interest entities. That was the stand of the institute. Thankfully, NAFRA after that never took that forward. It did not. Now, no GST audit. When we spoke last year to the Honorable FM, she said that, look, Why do I need GST audit when I have everything in the cloud? I have everything in the cloud. We said that, madam, input tax credit you may not be in a position to do. She is saying, form number, those of us who do GST audit, form number 99C, that is enough for me. If that is done, that's the annual return, by the way. That is enough for me. Now they're talking about clause number 44 in the tax audit report also, the form number 3CD. So she's saying that once this is done, I am satisfied. Now, regarding reduction in bank audits, what has happened, and both of them are the experts on the subject, I'll just give you what RBI feels. They're saying, we have got CBS now. CBS means the whole system is computerized. If a private bank can have 6 auditors, why do you need 200 auditors for nationalized banks? That's what they're saying. Basic question. The institute in reply says that, sir, unlike private banks, your documents are not digitized. So somebody has to go there and see the documents. Till now we have argued on that point. But to what extent we can argue? They will digitize this. Now all the banks have merged. Number of banks have come down. The number of branches have come down. How can you expect everybody to get audit? Not possible. So we must live in a scenario that where you see this bank audit as it goes ahead will get lesser and lesser and lesser. And tax audit, you see, the future is, if a company is not dealing in cash, if it is dealing only with banking transactions, what is the need for tax audit? Right? So they are saying, I can have all details in the cloud. As more and more companies starts having that situation, you might find the tax audit limit enhanced more further. But one more, they're saying, and they've given us a list, which even Nilesh bhai knows and Raghu sir knows. They are saying that the quality of tax audit is not very good. As a president, let me tell you, they are saying you are writing all yes, no, not applicable and doing this tax audit. What is this? So we have to, if you have to keep tax audit with us, Cotha, we have to ensure that the quality is good. The guidance note on tax audit has just been approved by the council. I think it will come out tomorrow or day after.
No disclaimers.
It's already.
Disclaimers should be given.
No disclaimers. Cotha was right. That's why I praised him, that he have got a good council member. You see, he said no disclaimer. There was a debate in the council for 1 hour on clause 44, whether you can give disclaimer or not, no disclaimer. And so many of us, we said, if I write about disclaimer, all the auditors will write disclaimer. I cannot give any this thing. But that is not what they want, Government of India. Right? So if we cannot maintain quality, let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, even tax audit will not be in a position to hold on. So if I have to maintain quality, what I need to do, the guidance note on tax audit, when it comes out tomorrow, have a look at the guidance note before you jump into tax audit. Just flip through the pages. Just flip through the pages. That will ensure that you have quality in the work.
Thank you, President sir. Other questions, most of it you have answered in some other.
This man will answer this question.
No, that's.
Things were done during this man's time.
No, these things, somewhere it has been answered, so I will just skip all those other questions because you wanted some 10 to 15 minutes for open house discussion. So, ladies and gentlemen, we will come to the end of this particular session, that is the panel discussion on vision of the profession. I thank all the 3 stalwarts, the past presidents, CA K. Raghu, CA Nilesh Vikamsey, and the present president, CA Debashis Mitra sir, for being with us and answering all our queries. Because of paucity of time, I cannot take a few more questions. So a big round of applause for all the 3 panelists. And specifically, if you have any other questions, like what I was already asked, apart from that, if you want to ask any specific question, 1 or 2 can raise your hand so that we can take the questions. Yeah.
Sir, I am Shiv Kumar. My question is to Mr. President ICI. Actually, this is not a question, this is an issue. Under Karnataka Cooperative Societies Act, chartered accountants are doing the statutory audit. Recently, Director of Cooperative Audit has issued a circular stating that in selected cases, the statutory audit under Section 63 of the Cooperative Societies Act shall be supervised by the designated officials of the department. Supervision in the sense, the chartered accountant has to give draft audit report along with financials to the designated official and take his written directions to modify the report if there is anything, and according to the directions given by the designated official, this statutory auditor has to finalize the report and submit it. This is not only illegal, there is no provision in the act, not only illegal, but it defeats the independent auditor's status itself. So it is not only illegal and against the fundamental principles of the statutory audit. Unfortunately, the state leadership of our profession has failed to prevent the implementation of this circular. Therefore, I request you as ICA President, please intervene in this matter and see that the independence of the statutory auditors as chartered accountants is restored. If this is not prevented now, what is happening in cooperative audit may happen in tax audit. You may be asked to file a tax audit report with the approval of the income tax officer. That situation may come up tomorrow, is only my imagination. Please intervene in the Karnataka cooperative audit and see that this circular is withdrawn. Please.
You see, the Cooperative Societies Department has given us a long list of auditors for disciplinary action. Right? They have given us a long list of auditors for disciplinary action. Let me tell you, Cotha Srinivas may not be aware. I'm aware of this. Right? So you see, I met the Secretary Cooperative Department. They said that, look, sir, see the kind of audit that has been done. And it is of a very poor quality. But, let me tell you, I still said that, sir, the problem is you try to paint everybody with the same brush. There might be 10 people out of 100 who are doing bad audit, but the other 90 are not doing bad audit. Right? Then they wrote back to us saying that we require 10 chartered accountants, recommend the names of 10 chartered accountants who can help us in looking into this audit and all these things. Right? I don't know what has happened. We are taking up. We are aware of whatever you are saying. Right? But the disciplinary committee is also looking into to what extent the cases that have been referred to us are genuine, to what extent the audit was done in a very poor manner. If the audit was done in a very poor manner, let me tell you, our bargaining power, whatever you have said, the leadership has failed and all these things you have said, our strength gets diminished. Our strength gets diminished. They have given us a long list. Right? So that's how it is. I'll tell you the inside information. Just like in the case of Chinese companies, they have given us a long list. Here also they have given us a long list.
No, the submission of the draft report to the regulator and taking instructions from him to modify the report is not acceptable.
I totally agree with you. Nobody can force you to modify your own audit report because your independence is affected if anybody forces you to modify. What I would suggest is, in those kind of cases, you have to stand your ground and say that I will not modify. This is my report, and if I have given a qualified report, my qualification stands. As more and more of us do it, I'm only telling you, the audit that you are talking about will be more secure and we will get more respect. Stand up sometimes, say that I will not change. My modification, I have given the reasons for my modification, and I will not change. The problem is we don't stand up. That's how it is. Yes.
I'll give a flip side to what the President mentioned. See, we are having, I'm saying, one side is, if you are right, you should not modify the report, I'm fully with it. But assume in the audit you have missed out something, and under this process, whoever the supervising authority points out that you have missed out something, and please correct it. will it not be an advantage that rather it being referred to a disciplinary committee, you correct it and do the correct thing? If what the directing is wrong, please don't accept. You are independent. But assuming, in the volume or in whatever, assuming there's negligence of your people down the line, if they're pointing out that something is right, rectification has to be done, what's the harm? I'll just give you a flip side. There are two sides. If they ask you to do something wrong, please don't accept that. You have to stand your ground. You are an independent professional, if they're saying. But if they're telling you something which is rightly to be done, which is an inadvertent omission on your part, what's the big thing?
No, during the course of the audit,
no
regulator
discussion,
cannot
no debate.
interfere.
Sir,
They'll be taken up by the leadership. I'm just giving two sides of the coin to you. You're getting from the president also how many complaints they have got. So that's the reason. There's no debate. Separately we'll have. We cannot, take other people's time in that. But we can have a discussion over lunch.
sir, you can have one.
Sir, I wanted to ask you a question for many years when Raghu was the president, but I have not done it earlier, but it's never too late. As a member of this profession, I would like to state that we as chartered accountants, as a professional body, should take an oath that none of us will pay a bribe so that our profession would maintain the ethical standards required of us. Kindly comment.
We are going in the direction that you are talking about. Have you seen the pledge that is on circulation regarding financial and tax literacy? I pledge that I am a proud chartered accountant, I am a proud Indian, that I will make India financial and tax literate, and I will make India Sone ke Chiriya. That is the oath pledge that is circulating. We have already got about 7,000 pledges, and we are hoping that it will, as time progresses, it will exceed 1 lakh. Right? We do that. Now, this bribing business that you are talking about, how can you talk about not giving bribe and this and that? You can say whatever you want to, but we cannot talk about all this, right? Once I say I will not give bribe, that means I had given bribe in the past, right? So you see, we cannot get into those areas. So that is what you see is very, very important. But mark my words today, this pledge that we are circulating will give us a huge amount of positive publicity. And I would request all of you, since he's talking about the pledge and the oath, please take that pledge that is in circulation by the Institute of Chartered Accountants. Please do that.
Sir, under 5 trillion economy, what will be the role and the scope for chartered accountant, especially this, partnership with chartered accountants and single practicing practice?
Look, as you go ahead, sir, I would like to disappoint you. Proprietorship firms will not be in a position to survive. When he talks about technology, he will tell you that all auditing standards you follow. Somebody else will tell you about faceless assessment. Somebody else will tell you about GST. He's talking about forensic audit. He's talking about valuation standards. One person, how it can provide so many services? Even the banks will not give audit to the proprietorship firms. CAG has already stopped giving audit to proprietorship firms. So even though I might sound very harsh and despondent, but let me tell you, it is time we went for capacity building. Create bigger firms. Then only we shall survive. That is my viewpoint to your question.
Sir, good evening. As a past chairman of Bangalore branch, little bit I am asking one selfish question for the infrastructure wise. The Rajajinagar building, the donation done by Sudha Janardhan madam, still it was not done because that time we were the managing committee members. The then president has promised within 1 year it is going to be constructed. We hope at least to take a time and complete and center of excellence building that 10 acres land. That every year it is on passing, almost 10 years it is coming to an end. So kindly take and give one assurance for all the members what is going to be held for whole Karnataka state. Thank you.
Let me tell you regarding the gifted land. I was just now talking to Cotha Srinivas. There were some technical issues which have been overcome. So he was telling me that now it is, see, we can go ahead for the construction. The institute, the mindset of the institute is not to block something, infrastructure development. We are not having that mindset. Because the way we look at it in the future is, we look at centers of excellence where the students can come and learn. We are looking at a future where at least 2 to 3 months of the articleship of a student is done in a center of excellence. We are looking at a future where the members can walk into a center of excellence and only talk about excellence and nothing else. We are looking at that kind of future. So when we are looking at that kind of a future, you say whatever you are saying, no, we are not going to delay this. I have already spoken to him and I have told him that we have a infrastructure development committee meeting coming up on the 27th of this month. If he has any technical issues, he should bring it forward and we shall do it. I shall not promise that you see within 1 year I shall do it or 2 years I shall do it. But let me tell you, we have no mental block. We have no mental block regarding construction of that building. No mental block.
A huge round of applause. We request all the delegates to give a huge round of applause to our moderator who meticulously planned and staged this discussion, all our eminent panelists for being our guiding lights, and the vision of being largest accounting body in the world, number-wise as well as in terms of standard of quality, will surely be the target for all of us, and we achieve it by 2030, having this prolific people there as our leaders. Thank you one and all. And thank you Pannarat sir and Geeta ma'am for being there.
Sorry sir, just 1 minute, because I'll not get this opportunity again to address the question. Sir, 1 second sir.
We request all the questions to be taken offline, please.
Offline then.
Offline, please.
President is here for some more time. I thank the organizers here for having this program, first of all. See, at least it is a beginning that the presidents, past presidents and the present have come in the open to ask the questions, to answer the questions of the members and the issues of the members. So this is one of the wonderful programs. I thank Mr. Cotha Srinivas, Central Council member from Karnataka, for coining this program and framing the questions. So many questions could not be answered, but still it's a good beginning. Definitely there are some more questions and issues which we request the President to resolve, sir. So he is here. I also have one question. I will discuss with him offline. And thank you very much for this session, Cotha Srinivas ji, and also all the President and also past President and Geeta ji for being part of the program. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for the vote of thanks. Ladies and gentlemen, it's going to take another 15 minutes for the lunch to get ready. Please bear with us.
Meanwhile, I thank once again to all our panelists and moderator, and we request Geeta ma'am and Pannarat sir to present memento as a token of appreciation and gratitude for this wonderful session for all our president and past presidents of ICAI. A huge round of applause for answering all your questions, clearing all our doubts. Ladies and gentlemen, a huge round of applause for the visionaries on the stage there, for shedding light on what's happening at the macro level. Moving on, accounting field is digitally moving forward and changing its shape on an